The card has been sent out, and we're about to go finally take on Madarame. Second dungeon is coming to a close. Well, like 2 weeks after you actually beat him in the dungeon. That's just kind of how it works. Oh, well. Hey, but the point is we're back to Persona. It's been a grip, hasn't it?
It's been a while.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a series that has a tumultuous past and continues to be tumultuous to this day. But hey, at least with Yusuke on the team, as you can see, he is very creepily staring down the back of Madarame's head right now. We get much better written cards and much nicer looking ones too. That's like the official design for the calling cards that you see in like all the promotional material, or like when Joker got put into Smash.
Yeah, well, Madarame definitely responds to graphic design. We know that he's just a master of pamphlets and brochures. So this is probably the most serious thing he's ever seen. This is like, oh yeah, they're professionals. It's like a rival artist.
It's kind of shocking to think that he did not immediately recognize it as his protege, because you'd think that he would be paying more attention to that than anything else. Also, Morgana is the one delivering the cards, which is a pretty savvy call on the part of the Phantom Thieves. I'll give him that.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that they would want to do more stuff just sending Morgana out by himself. I mean, for example, it's like, why do you even need to go into Madarame's house when you could just send Morgana?
It would take a really long time for anyone to figure that out. Yeah, like, oh, there's a stray cat or something. Huh, I don't know how it got in, but I don't know, it was a sunny day, cat went through the window. Yeah, that would be really hard, like, oh, that's actually...
I don't think Madarame has like AC or anything. He probably wouldn't need to open up the window on a hot day. Yeah. His house is kind of garbage. Oh, also, one thing I want to note about that scene is that when the Phantom Thieves had sent out the card to Kamoshida, the person that Shadow Kamoshida talked to in that like sort of cutaway type of scene was the main character. Which is that implying that the main character was the person most affected by Kamoshida's actions? Because that's kind of silly. Gonna surprise them all.
He has to wear glasses because like the Kamoshida just like slapped him like when he was trying to do a spike or something.
You know,
it was a complete accident. It actually had nothing to do with his immaturity. It was just a random act. Like, oh my god, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit you.
What?
Talking about Kamoshida. I don't know.
You know, actually in Persona 4 it was like a big thing where all the main characters were wearing glasses when they were in the other world. Now we got masks, which I guess is a little bit more appropriate given the themes of the game and the themes of the series as a whole, but you don't really get to see that, as it doesn't have that same level of style. But of course this game is also a lot more what you would call superhero focused rather than, I guess, fashion? Would I even say fashion focused, or would I just say like an extra little layer of character design that I think they wanted to do? Because obviously anybody working on this game does have a real passion for the design of everything.
Oh yeah. And we've said it before, the designs are just beautiful. Like everything looks really nice.
Hey, we all know that I love everything about this game except for the story itself, and it's not like this is Doom. The story plays a big part in the game.
Now, just to be clear, just to reorient ourselves, this is like the second night that we're actually the third night that we're going into this palace. Is that right?
I think, yeah, this is like the third episode in a row, because I originally planned to do like more stuff before we actually did the calling card itself. But oh yeah, the last episode was the one where we talked about math for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So that was, I suppose we got that slight break. There was a reason why after that episode I wanted to kind of space it out, because I'm like, we should probably like come up with a topic or two to talk about ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we can always talk about the game. What happening?
I guess it was a big part of the game now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Can't really Nobody can deny that. I think the description I put for that episode is it's just like watch Doc Firebird play Persona 5 for 8 hours and he fell asleep on just talking about math and fell asleep on stream. Some old copy pasta that I can barely even remember. Anyway. I gotta love those run animations, which are not meant to be that slow. Always reminds me of that one bit in Mr. Show where they were supposed to have Bob Odenkirk do a motion that they were going to put in slow motion later, except they never did, so he just runs into a room and pumps his hands extremely quickly for no reason.
Yeah. I mean, well,
of course, in a video game, you do have like canned animations and everything, so it's just kind of how it goes.
Well, there's a little bit of performance art going on here. Well, I mean, that wasn't just a messed up run animation. There was actually some melted butter on the floor of the museum, part of an exhibit.
Oh yeah, they had to. They were like they were going to be cleaning it soon enough because again, like the museum, despite being made of thoughts, does also have stuff like bathrooms and electrical systems. Well, oh man, it's weird that's like the thing I would like to see more of. But if they actually went into some of the specifics of how stuff would work in this game, I would like this so much more.
Oh yeah.
Even though that would probably be way more dull to a lot of people than the sort of stuff I complain about. I don't know.
Well, you love games that are well designed and written,
realized. I think is
well realized.
How I would put it.
Way to put that. Yeah.
But maybe this is why I always say with a lot of stuff that it's like it's probably just me.
That's you. Doc's criticism of the game is why don't they go to the bathroom more?
Well.
Why don't they
why do they go to the bathroom more? Why are bathrooms included in a palace of the mind? But whatever. Also, I do want to point out there that did you see that it still looked like the draping over the painting was like super starched up because it looked like it was still, upright.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very, very tiny thing there, but I don't know. I don't know why I even want to point it out. I just do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no! Whoa. I mean, after the whole plan actually went off surprisingly well, there is a little bit of a hitch, but I did actually notice that window last time, so I do feel like I kind of called that one. Because I think even in the episode when we were kind of like exploring through this part of the palace, I went over here and I'm like, why can you not go through here? I thought there was going to be like an Ishii or something, but no. Also, this is a window, by the way. Get a lovely view of the night sky.
Well, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. It's the outside is kind of messed up, so.
Actually, the outside is not messed up. As you can see in the background, it really is just that's another one of those things where I really wanted to get into the details, get into the specifics of how the world works, because what is it actually like when you're in the other world? But they say that in places that don't have a whole lot of distortion, that it's pretty much the exact same as it exists in the real world, which is why we get crazy gold museum town for Madarame, but then if you were to like walk out a little bit more, it's just a parking lot.
Well,
or it's just like a regular building.
Yeah, and I mean, what you're talking about is like windows. I mean, even bathrooms. Like these are things with psychological like.
Are there still people out there? I mean, no, there wouldn't be because we already saw the train station like right outside of Mementos. That's like all the people disappeared when we were going to go into Mementos. So it's like it would just be a completely barren city, right? Are there shadows out there? Are there? It's a weird thing because it's like even in some of the past entries into the Persona series, I was thinking about the same sort of deal. I remember like Persona 3 especially wondering, it's like, what if you were to actually try to leave Tartarus from one of the higher floors? Which doesn't mean anything to you if you haven't played the game, but
okay.
I don't know why.
But I mean, it's the exterior of the palace. So would this be like the barrier between his subconscious and society's collective unconscious or something?
Well, no, because society's collective unconscious is is mementos, but that doesn't encompass everything. That just encompasses the subway system.
Oh,
I would like to see them explore it a little bit more. Also, yeah, Madarame, what are you doing? One, that was a pretty good gag. I'm a big fan of seeing that particular painting again. I don't know if you've ever seen that one before. But I think it's... I'm pretty sure that it's some kind of like a joke, because I have seen that in multiple games. For example, just finished up playing Nier Automata, and there was a robot, like I think it was called the Idiot Savant robot, that you had a quest from that had a face painted up like that same thing. I don't know. If I actually knew what it was called, I would probably have more to say on it. Well, anyway, Madarame, what are you doing? Why do you bring the treasure with you? You could have just kind of chased them out at this point. Why'd you didn't need to bring the actual treasure with you.
wow. He's really leaning into that terrible person. Like, I'm unapologetically terrible right now.
This is a thing that I kind of want to chat about for a second. Well, not that. There it is, the real one.
Oh my god.
It was a painting of Yusuke's mother and himself as a baby.
Wow.
As I guess Madarame just said.
That is actually a pretty weird and interesting twist.
But at the same time, is it though? You remember how I said that we're done with Madarame's arc, and now it's all about Yusuke?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like, yeah, I kind of saw this one coming.
That's fair, yeah.
Obviously, the baby was erased in the later versions. I think it's just like kind of like a mist or something over it, if I'm remembering the other versions of it correctly.
What an evil motherfucker.
This is kind of what I wanted to chat about for a second. So one of the things I was really surprised about with Kamoshida was the fact that despite everything, he still somehow retained like a little bit of respect as an actual athlete. As far as we know, I mean, it was never revealed otherwise, he did in fact earn that gold medal, and that's kind of surprising because, you know, they really try to hammer home the way that the villains are all very one-dimensionally evil.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we come around to Madarame here, it's like, well, he's not even an artist. The only major piece of art that he's been known for, he just stole, making his evil one-dimensional characterness complete.
Yeah, they're just making him into like Satan. Like, this is my ridiculously circuitous plan. He's the robot double.
It's like I wonder if it's going to be eventually that Kamoshida was kind of an aberration, just because he did have one trait that could have been seen as slightly respectable.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they made absolutely sure in this scene to completely undo that with Madarame. Yeah.
Well,
also,
so he let his mother die. Yep, that's pretty fucked. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Well, at least he didn't literally kill her, but God, it's like yeah, well, you know, that is one of the problems that I got with some of the villains here. It's just that they're all, well, first off, that you know about them ahead of time, and then it's like, man, just crime robots is how I describe Kamoshida, where it's like basically he doesn't seem to have a life outside of just being evil.
I mean, yeah, and like right there, like, I kept you around to keep you from discovering the truth. What kind of logic is that? That doesn't even make sense.
Well, I mean, it's like I know that it's like he's supposed to be a shadow, but he still also did apparently do these things in real life.
Well, and the other thing is he must have, like, I'm assuming that Yusuke is not just like, you know, purely genetically endowed with a great eye for art. I'm assuming there's at least a little bit of like he trained Yusuke to be a great artist himself. Like so, I just yeah.
I
Every for me to forgive you is disappear. Yeah, no shit. And I feel like that. I see what you're saying. You're saying like this catharsis here. That's the whole point of the arc, and it's not that interesting if you just make him cartoonishly
if
evil.
he's just completely irredeemable in every single way, then it's just like, well, it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, like I'm actually writing like this podcast episode, and and you have to make like your villain be friendly with the person they betray, because otherwise it's like, or like even like Judas in like the, you know what I mean, like in the Bible, like you can't just give Judas no positive characteristics and then be like, oh, then he betrayed him because he's that evil. No, it doesn't make sense. It's not compelling.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I would just like it to be that the villains are. You can imagine what the villains do when they're not being evil. This is some good boss design.
This is pretty cool, actually. Just
I'm a big fan of this whole thing. This looks great, but you know,
like apart
each
from
one
all
of
the writing criticisms, like this is pretty fucking cool. He's like a bunch of paintings. He's in eyes, nose, and mouth. Oh, that's pretty horrifying. 3-dimensional.
and they do, yeah, it's like it is very horrifying, but also they do all have like individual aspects to them where they are weak to like some things but strong against others. So for example, if I was trying to hit we're playing on the highest level of difficulty, by the way. Yeah, it's like, for example, if you try to hit the mouth with a physical attack, it will instead absorb it as health. So you can't use just attacks that hit everything. You have to kind of like plan it out. But there are also like other twists with it too that make it, you know, kind of difficult even beyond being able to one-shot some of your compatriots here. That's actually why you saw a very obvious cut right at the beginning of battle. Did take me a couple tries.
Yeah. That is
Man.
pretty. Oh man, that mouth is just gross. Like everything else about this is pretty like kind of weird and stuff, but that mouth is just like.
I know, right?
God, it must have taken somebody so long to do that. Like, just imagine, like, but probably the whole team. Like, they had a mouth week where they,
They had a mouth week where they're just like, how to make this make this just look very disturbing, especially when it comes up and like chomps the character.
I think part of it is just all the teeth look about the same, so it's kind of like,
yeah, where they're all like the exact same size and everything, and they really like stick out when they go to attack one of your party members.
Somehow it's worse than if they're just like all canine teeth. You know what I mean? Like it's just because they're like flat. It's like this guy's mouth is just like one big like, ugh, like just one big flat empty.
A horse mouth or something.
Yeah.
The really flat teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you know, like the weird like furriness of the mustache too.
Yeah. Like just what a scoundrel. Like just based on looks alone.
But yeah, I'm trying to space out some of the hits so that I take them all down at once. But of course, now is when Madarame starts to pull out his special attack. You've heard of painting the town red. I'm sorry.
Yes, I have heard of painting the town red.
Well, anyway, it's completely useless to for it to try to lower my defense there, because when Madarame paints one of your characters black, they are weak to everything. Literally every single hit they take is critical damage. And that's, should go without saying, not good.
Is painting the town red, how old is that phrase? Is that like from the 1830s or something?
I would probably say early 1900s, but...
Maybe it's from the 20s or something. Just like, oh yeah, hey, we're going to go paint the town red, hey.
I'm not even entirely sure what that's supposed to mean either.
The economy's booming, baby. We're living in the roaring 20s. That's what we call it. Here in the 20s.
But it's like, what do you mean by like red?
Well, it's gonna be fun, you know. Like I don't know. We're
like
gonna kill somebody.
Red, the color. It's sanguine, the color of passion and youth.
We're mobsters. We're gonna paint the town. We're gonna kill someone. That's what that means. That's
the usual thing that like people. That's the usual pun that people make these days.
Yeah.
But I assume that it didn't mean that, like, literally back when the phrase was first coined, right?
I feel like even using it ironically to mean you're gonna kill someone is itself like 60 or 70 years old.
Yeah, that's also true. I don't know. I mean, it's like this is post commentary. We could just look it up.
Like,
Also,
yeah, I suppose, but it's like, you know, oh, they're all tied up at the moment. Did that ever mean somebody was just busy, or is it always meant like, yeah, they're literally tied up and they can't respond and they're being taunted about it? Like,
well, I mean, especially if you say it like that. I mean, it's you know, like ending a phrase with "if you know what I mean."
yeah. I mean, if somebody says, oh, you know, they're all tied up at the moment, I'm immediately going to call, like, some emergency service. Like, I am going to, like, get...
I can hear you winking over the phone.
Like, I'm gonna drive over there. I am not going to tell them that. I'm going to be like, I'm going to drive over where they are, and I'm going to, like, bring a gun. I mean, I need to save this person's life. Like,
I'm just going to pick up one of the many guns I just have lying around.
my loved one is in danger, and this person has kidnapped them. I'm so worried about them. Like,
by the way, talking again about Madarame's mouth, because that has somehow become a big theme in the episode. I don't know. The way that it's the tongue just kind of like wags out whenever it gets hit is also great too.
That's almost like a Mario character or something, like Wario specifically, like just or Waluigi, just something like gross.
Wario, I think, is a good comparison because, you know, Wario never closes his mouth.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, think about it. How many times have you actually seen Wario without, you know, seeing every one of his baseball card-sized teeth?
Well, I think what it is that he closes his jaw, but he doesn't close his mouth, like, and it never is fully closed. Like he's always like smirking or something, or he's angry and he's like glowering, and you can see his teeth. Yeah.
So yeah, when you defeat some of the parts of Madarame's face, they just kind of fall to the ground and they're useless, but they do get revived. What I didn't realize when playing this, when I was doing this run, is that they're not all revived at the same time, and they're also not revived with full health. So as it turns out, you really can take out most of them at the same time and be pretty okay. I thought that it was going to be like, you know, all three parts were revived at the same time. I don't know, whatever.
That'd be pretty difficult, yeah.
Could have been much easier is what I'm saying. Also, I do believe, unlike the vanilla version of Persona 5, you do not need to... whoever brings up the point of like, hey, let's use the boss's attack against them, or let's like do a special attack or whatever. It doesn't have to be the person who said that. You can now just pick them. Or maybe I just never noticed that when I was fighting Kamoshida. So yeah, not gonna be Yusuke, but it also doesn't really matter because he is down.
I am the best.
Oh, I can't believe you beat me. Aw, beans.
Oh, my mouth is normal now.
Madarame's out? I mean, what? He didn't transform into that or something? Was that like a robot that he was controlling? Damn Sue, all brat. Anyway, it was somebody else that talked last time, so I didn't get the line for that one.
Okay.
Madarame, I hate you. You're a bastard. There you go.
You still have to fight him?
I don't know if this was something new for Persona 5 The Royal, or if this was in the original game, but yeah, actually that's only halfway through the fight. It's an entirely new attack pattern now.
Okay, because I thought when you destroyed those paintings, like that would be it. That was its final form. But no?
It kind of should have been, because that's the best part of the fight. But,
oh yeah.
I don't know. The design here is still pretty cool. It's just, it's not. Yeah. We get it, Morgana.
Go, Madarame, my Rangers.
No, the painting portion is clearly the best part of this fight here, but then you also got to deal with weird elemental attacks. It goes full on Power Rangers on you, and yes, everything is as you would expect. You just want to counter everything with their own elements so that you get the half turns in the press turn system parlance.
Yeah, this probably should have been the first phase.
I would agree, because I think the big transform into a painting is a lot more final, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, when he's dying, he's like, I'm a painting.
I love it. I'm a painting.
Like, he doesn't
I
even,
am art.
I don't even accept death.
I belong in a museum.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, yeah. One, good job, and two, I just decided to go for like a big physical attack here because otherwise, the enemies do reflect damage that is their power.
Okay, yeah.
So if you use fire on the fire guy, he just reflects it right back at you. And I don't have immunity to stuff yet. I think all of my characters have resistance. Usually as you kind of like level up, that'll eventually become a thing.
Do you have a lot of physical AoE attacks?
Yeah, but they're, especially on like this high level of difficulty, they're not super effective. They're like compared to actually doing the elemental damage, it's a pretty minimal amount.
Now,
however, after the first phase, thankfully it's not every single element, but it just kind of starts to get a little bit more. You don't have to worry as much about getting every single element, and I died.
Now
that doesn't mean that you can play recklessly, but
does it start you at the second phase then?
Oh no, it doesn't.
Oh my god.
That's the magic of video editing.
Okay.
Hey, look, I'm already doing a lot of editing as it is.
I understand. Yeah. I'm not blaming
we can
you.
Have some fun times, like look at Doc Firebird get killed by his own element. Yeah, the boss fights can be a little bit long, but at the same time, I think they're still pretty good, especially with the changes to Baton Pass they got now in the Royal. It really makes it so that you can switch around party members a lot easier, and you get attack buffs every single time you do so. So, yeah, even if like a regular physical attack might not take out one of the clones, at least if I do enough baton passing, I can make it work anyway.
Now, when they revive, do they have full health, or are they just generally weak clones? Like they don't have that much health.
Hey, when he creates a duplicate, it is a full duplicate. So, here's the thing: if he just chooses one single element to do,
then
it's pretty easy. But if he chooses a bunch of different ones, that's where it becomes dicey.
So I wonder if, as the fight goes on, he slowly he only gets to the point where he's got two elements.
Yeah, there's a little bit more to the fight, but yeah, you'll see some.
Okay.
In the meantime, same sort of deal, and for the love of God, don't do it again. I'm doing it again. No. I could. I wasn't at low health that time, so it was more of a calculated play.
Yeah.
Less of a reckless. I mean, to be fair, I thought I would survive, and like I said, I has resistance. It's not complete immunity, but she really doesn't take too much damage from her own attacks.
Nice.
Ryuji, since I got Tarakaja on him, I'm gonna just focus on the real Madarame because, man, oh man, I need to take this guy down. It just can't be continuously dealing damage to the clones alone.
Yeah. Let's give a hand for the real Madarame.
Yes. I'll give him this. It's like, for doing the whole like clone thing, there's not supposed to be like a question of who the real one is, which is the usual trope in video games. So that's interesting. Also, the clones do have their own dialogue. And are they all very on the nose? Yes, they are. I only got this one in the lightning one, I think. Well, it's a good thing the main character can do ice attacks.
This reminds me, I just watched that It's Always Sunny part with like the Hugh Honey and Vic Vinegar. It kind of reminds me of that. Like, I'm full of vinegar right now.
I actually don't know what that is.
Oh, okay.
I never saw that bit. Yeah,
Okay,
I gotta go catch up with that show eventually.
Yeah. They do a bit where Mac and Dennis are like good realtors, bad realtors.
Wait,
And
what?
they're named Hugh Honey and Big Vinegar. Yeah, look it up. It's great.
Maybe I should go back and watch that show again.
That might have been like 10 years ago. It was a really good episode.
Oh, man. Well, I never actually watched like the episodes in order or anything like that, so it's
Yeah, same.
would be
need
pretty
to catch
easy
up
for
on
me
that.
to miss stuff. All right, thankfully I had some reviving abilities. Should really stock up on that a little bit more as I continue on in the game. I feel like I don't have as many items as I should, especially playing on this difficulty.
Now, how many of the items actually, like, did the items give you elemental attacks and stuff?
Yeah, there are some items that you can just use as kind of like a one-time use elemental attack, good for like knocking down enemies.
Like a thunder grenade or something?
Most of the ones I use are heals or like mana heal.
Oh, yeah.
There are all yeah. Poor Yusuke in his own fight, really getting the business. We're gonna go back to 1900s.
This is a really
Thanks,
dumb question, but if Yusuke dies, or not Yusuke, if the main character dies, you automatically lose. There's no way to come back from that. But if anyone else does, then you're just partying.
I don't know why they still have it like that. That's been a thing in the series, but there's no real reason for it. They don't need to do that.
Well, I mean, the main character is the most compelling character, right? That's why he's the main character, right? So,
Yeah, if he dies, well, there are games where that kind of makes sense. Like I'm thinking about like Planescape Torment, for example.
Well, it makes sense in a lot of games. It's just
Not Planescape Torment, but it's the Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate, I think, was a really good example because like if you die due to story reasons, your soul like literally leaves your body, and even if you do like pull a D&D resurrection, you would not be able to be revived.
Yeah, and in this one, aren't all the characters basically on equal footing in terms of like they're not like the main character isn't any more special than the other party members?
Well, he does have the wild card, that allows him to use any persona that he could possibly want, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's that's like a better fighter.
That's like a strength in combat or, some story strength, but it doesn't mean like, no one else should be able to win.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you should be the leader. It's just he is anyway.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that, as always, Morgana is the one who maybe has the most experience. But then again, does he?
I mean, he's a cat, so...
He certainly wants you to think that, Morgana, but... he certainly is not very forthcoming with a lot of the information that he actually has about the metaverse and its workings and everything.
How often can Manorami like respawn the clones?
Every turn.
Every turn. Oh my god.
Yep.
That's
every
rough.
turn he spawns another 4 every single turn, and again it's like this is what we're talking about here. Is we are talking about I'm trying to find some sort of revive, by the way, and I do not have any.
Ooh.
But yeah, he can do it every single turn, and he revives all of the missing copies every single turn.
Wow, that is rough.
It is, but thankfully, after he does it enough, which, boy, that took a while, didn't it?
Oh, so at this point, he's just not representing enough elements to be too dangerous, or?
No,
I see.
He's getting really tired in the fight, basically.
Okay, so, yeah.
Morgana right now, even though for some reason I didn't get the dialogue, he's saying, he's reaching his limits. And he's failing to create perfect copies in the way that he was before. So they spawn with virtually no health, and they also spawn asleep.
And all their dialogue is just thunder, 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 thunder.
Yeah, I mean you could easily see that earlier too.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
they're like a Brian Adams. They're just all like wow, no, nothing.
It's pretty good.
No, don't encourage me. There's a lot of bits in this episode that are just that can be summed up as stop encouraging me.
I'm just trying to do the yes and thing. We're trying to do comedy here, right?
No, this is bad comedy. Don't say no but to bad comedy.
That's a good rule to
Just
live by.
say no but.
But improv is always great, and it's because they say yes and, right? I mean,
always.
Well, wait, no. Like, a lot of improv doesn't need to exist. Let's be honest. I love improv, but
all right. I'm still sad that Yusuke is not going to be able to see the end of his own fight, especially because from what I've heard, apparently it does become very. Yusuke, Morgana, not Yusuke. I mean, Ryuji, Morgana, and Anne are kind of like the original characters, and they're the ones that get the anime cutscenes, and they're the ones that get like the major stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when characters are, out of their storyline, they don't get as much to do as those three.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Yusuke. I mean, he's still gonna be here, and he's still gonna do some stuff. It's just. He's going to be in a lessened role. All right, just one big physical attack should be able to take out all these characters, provided that Ryuji can hit him. This is random. Good. That also is a double hit, too. Yeah, on the hardest difficulty, bosses are pretty tanky. But thankfully, once you know what you're doing, it's not too bad. I think as of right now, like if I just decide to go 100% and just into attacking the real Madarame, he would go down pretty easily. It's just, I didn't want to do this again. These fights are long.
Yeah, I understand.
Come on, Ryuji. Good. By the way, I think I saw recently that Persona 4 is going to begin to a port to the PC. So are y'all ready to start up that series after this?
Are you actually going to do that?
No.
I thought you loved the Persona games.
I thought I did too. It's a good way to end out the battle. Yeah. Try as hard as you can, Madarame. It's over, and you're going to jail or whatever. I don't actually know what happens to him after this.
Don't bother to hear. Never mind. Alright.
There's a big anime flash there, too.
Oh, my heart, it's changing. This sucks. Hell yeah, we got $180.
Yeah, that's a good amount of money for this. No, it's not. You get so I have so much. I have like over $1,000 right now in the game.
I mean, that's not a lot either. I mean, this has been like this has been a part-time job that you've had for months, and you've been risking your life, your soul. What is his defense here?
Yeah.
That's
Kamoshida at least tried. Everybody wants money. That's why it's called money, as Danny DeVito said in a baffling line.
These are really just like, I mean, these are really just pathetic excuses. Like, I know they're trying to make him pathetic, but it's like they didn't really think this. It feels like they didn't really think this through. Like, oh yeah, well, what is he gonna say now? Like,
oops, all evil.
Yeah, exactly.
Oops, no redeemable qualities.
Well, he might have some redeemable qualities when he has some change of heart.
No. I don't know, it's like when he has his heart change, it's like, what is he gonna do?
He's just gonna be, I mean, like, is he just gonna devote himself to real art or what? Like,
I mean, Kamoshida obviously went to jail, but Madarame, I don't think he. Oh, by the way, there's another character in the metaverse, one who's wearing a black mask. Ah. Who is that? I don't know. Morgana's wearing a black mask. Maybe it's somebody that was working with him, etc. and so on. Still a lot of things about Morgana that we do not know. Like a ridiculous amount of things about Morgana. I mean, my theory right now is that, you know, he kind of seemed to come into existence, or at least the last thing that he remembered was about the point in time that the main character got his persona powers. Maybe the reason why the main character has no personality or like any sort of discernible traits is that they were like fractured off as soon as he got his performance persona, whatever, and then took the form of a cat inside Kamoshida's prison, which is why they immediately and intrinsically started to trust him very quickly. So the real main character is, in fact, Morgana.
I mean,
because Morgana is the true persona of Joker.
The main character has been in a coma since the first episode.
Yes. The main character is dying in the afterlife, which is also a simulation, and he took a lot of hallucinogens. And he's also being Truman showed.
Yeah.
Whatever. Do you got any better idea of what's happening right now?
I think you could just say Morgana's the main character because Morgana has the most stuff going on.
I've already said that, though. That was like 10 episodes ago I said that.
I know. I mean, but it's like, it's not wrong. We don't have to come up with a new theory. It's just that there's not a lot to talk about.
No, don't put the cards on the table that quickly.
I mean, just in this episode, there's not a lot to. In this episode.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as we get into like the next episode, it's gonna be so much better. Please continue to stick around in the series.
This is gonna be a great.
And disable ad block.
Every episode
and like,
just
comment,
gets better
and
and
better. Well, at least with this thing, they can't just hawk it off in the nearest pawn shop. So, and you know, it also has a lot more actual emotional attachment to the characters comparatively.
Yeah. It's a lot better. Like, I mean, as much as like we're shooting on the writing and stuff, this is a lot more impactful than the gold medal or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean,
immediately hawk for $300 and then get dinner.
Yep, we hawked for $300, which is spent on a buffet.
But come to think of it, it's like going to a buffet for. Imagine going to a buffet for like $75 at a fancy hotel. Like,
man.
I guess I can see that if you're poor, like, you know.
I'd do that right now.
Yeah, that'd actually be pretty cool. I take that back.
I would probably do the thing like with Anne did and just get all the desserts. And Ryuji just comes in here and starts belching in everybody's faces because it's I don't know why. Maybe he's one of those guys that's just like, I can't stand emotional stuff, so I have to kind of like ruin it. Exactly, Yusuke. Oh no, I thought you meant.
No, that rules.
I thought you were talking about Ryuji.
Oh no, I just meant like Ryuji's just like, oh yeah, like, I don't know, it's like scumbags in society, whatever. Who cares?
I mean, in some ways, I actually really do like that about Ryuji, where it's like he's not like a very noble person. He's trying. He's really trying, but you know.
He admits it right there. That's pretty great. Like, there's no knowing whether it'll turn out good for everyone or not. I think a lot of stories would be improved if their hero was just like, well, we don't know if this is gonna work. Let's do it. What the hell?
Well, at the same time, it's like we do know this is going to work because of all the future scenes with Najima.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
Why do I have to be cursed with such knowledge?
Well, that's like the opposite of what writing should be. Like, you shouldn't know. Like, the characters should know more than you do. I think. Like, you should be learning about the characters as they're finding things out.
Well.
Like, they're navigating.
Let me tell you.
Like that's actually true. Like, if characters should know their own world to a reasonable extent, even if they're like a stranger is coming to town. You know what I mean? Like, they should know a lot about their town at least.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, if there's one thing that Persona 5 is great at, it's bucking like common knowledge in writing. That's actually very astute, Han. It could be more than one person wearing the same mask, but I mean, we literally don't know what they're even trying to do. We just know it's somebody else in the metaverse wearing a mask. Everybody here wears masks. It's like they don't even necessarily have to be doing that to try to protect their identity. They could just be, that's just how they do when they're in persona mode.
Concerned about, global pandemic,
I mean, he does say that, but that is very literal to the Japanese. But still.
It's so weird that this is like the next scene after they just defeated Madarame. Like, that's such a... I mean, I get that he can join the party and stuff, but it's weird that it's like such a... Didn't feel like it was very passionate, Like, he's clearly had the most...
What part wasn't that passionate? The part where Ryuji came in and belched in Ant's face?
You sure?
Yep, I sure am great. Not really. I mean, mostly I think it's just going to be replacing you, Morgana. Oh, well, I mean, this is, the way the Persona goes is it is kind of like a very, what would you call it? Pattern-based?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we get, like, we beat the boss, we get the wrap-up session, and then we get Morgana's next social link, basically.
Wait, there's no way I turn out to be a bad guy in the end? Is that what Morgana just said? That's interesting.
I misspelled transform. Also, I haven't really tried. I don't know. Maybe I could. You don't know how my transformation abilities are right now.
Mm-hmm. Good choice there. Yeah, go with the monster. I'm not some monster. You said you could be the bad guy.
I still think that he's some sort of monster cat. I mean, did you see how many tracks that he's been laying down on YouTube?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Also, if this is like supposed to be a reference to something, I don't know. Or maybe it's just Morgana being weird.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. That was like that might be... These feel like this might be a reference to something. I don't know. Like maybe a short, like a mythological figure or something.
I mean, Morgana is like a character made out of like, references to I Am a Cat, to puns on cat burglar and everything like that. So who can tell? Shut up, Morgana. Also, he's super horny. No, I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it because that's what we're all thinking. And we gotta get him to stop being so dang horny.
Well, he's a cat. It's hard to really stop that.
By the way, that line there was, I feel my relationship deepening with Morgana, and it's like, that's a weird line to come after what he was just saying. Well, I mean, this is the generic one that you get whenever you're about to get another social link, but still. You thought it was over, didn't you?
Once more into the breach. Once more.
As always, the fun game that we're coming up with since the last episode was the theory that I had that every one of these IM scenes was written after the entire script was done and made specifically to be just a time pattern. So, do we have any new information coming in here?
I wasn't sure you'd really want to change Madarame's heart. Really? You weren't sure about that? Even after you found out he was a fraud and...
Just a terrible person. Stop trying to even pretend like that's not what's going to happen. I'll play along, though.
I wonder, there definitely... I hope he has a change of heart.
See? Look at this line right here. It's like, you just was not the last scene, but the one right before that.
It's
been literally minutes.
Yep. Is Madarame. Is Madarame.
Is he?
Change
Is he? Indeed.
Change your mind at the board meeting yesterday. Swap.